الأنباء دائما في الصدارة. هنا لندن التلفزيون العربي لهيئة الإذاعة.
It's been just under 12 years since the BBC's Arabic television service went dark. From 1994 to April 96, BBC tried to work with commercial operator Arabic TV, an outfit based in Italy with Saudi backing. But editorial differences over the airing of a documentary was the final straw in an often tense relationship. As from March 11, 2008, BBC's re-entering into the Arabic language satellite TV market, although it's quick to point out that with its 70-year tradition in radio and nearly 15 years online, it's never really been away. Director of BBC World Service, Nigel Chapman, says they do have clear targets.
We do. We've set ourselves a benchmark to reach 25 million users, individuals, if you like, in the Arab world within 5 years. We think there's about 100 million people who have access to satellite TV at the moment, so it's about a quarter of that. And then we also obviously want to extend our radio audiences and our new media audiences too. So 40 million is the sort of figure we'd be looking for when you add it all up within 5 years.
Do you have an advantage, partly because of the public funding for all three services, compared to, let's say, BBC's English offering, in the sense that you can cross-promote without having problems from a financial point of view?
Yes, we would be able to cross-promote between the television, the radio, the new media services, and the fact that we have guaranteed funding of £25 million a year for the Arabic TV, plus extra money in the budget for radio and for new media, obviously gives us an advantage, a distinct advantage, and I don't dispute that. It gives us stability, gives us long-term commitment. We can make that clear to our audiences, and we hope as a result of that they'll stick with us too when they see the service. They'll enjoy it and they'll want to use it.
Now, in other parts of the world service, you're doing a shift away from radio. For example, Latin America, at the end of the month, you're reducing the amount of audio that you're making and shifting to more online, more video. Will you also review the amount of audio that you're making in Arabic once television gets established?
Well, that's not part of our plans to do that. I mean, the Arabic radio service is a 24/7 service. It's very much a news-based service. We'd obviously look at the synergies that are possible between radio and television, given that they're increasingly covering the same sort of agenda around news and information. The example you quote about Spanish is a response to the particular needs of the Spanish market. There, radio is having less impact, new media is having more, and it's a very sensible decision to spend more money proportionally on new media and the web operation and news gathering for the web operation, and less on radio. And I think we have to look at each market on the merits and keep on reviewing it, because the world is changing very fast now, and that's one of the things that strategically we obviously have to do.
At the press conference in London the week before relaunch, it was clear the BBC is re-entering into a market which now has more than 500 Arabic language channels.
Well, I think there's two ways we'll be different. Firstly, this is a BBC service and will reflect BBC values. We will absolutely have an international perspective and be impartial. This is not there to project Britain's viewpoint or British government policy or anything like it. So we'll be independent and impartial, as all BBC news services have to be. Secondly, though, I think we'll differentiate ourselves from the other news services across the Middle East by having a more international focus. One of the strengths that we can bring is calling upon all of the material that's produced by the BBC's Bureau and 250 correspondents that we have around the world, the big news gathering machine of the BBC, and by being able to draw on some of that material, I think we'll be able to report what's going on in the rest of the world into the Middle East, as well as reporting what's happening in the Middle East itself.
Why is that now, when you can only afford to run 12 hours a day? Would it be better to wait until later in the year when you have 24?
Well, that was the choice, really. Should we wait, another 6 months to launch 24, or should we start now? And I think our view, the judgment we've made, is that we'd like to get going with 12 hours a day and then step it up to 24 hours as soon as we're able to, which hopefully will be later in the summer. Now, some people may say, oh well, you should have waited the extra few months and launched it to 24 hour. But our view has been it's better to get out in the market as soon as we're able to. So that's what we're doing.
أهلا بكم إلى أولى نشرات الأخبار من البي بي سي.
هنا لندن بي بي سي. تحتفل اليوم البي بي سي بإطلاق قناتها العربية.
أهلا بكم إلى بي بي سي أونلاين.
Building on its renowned Arabic radio and online output, the BBC's new Arabic television channel will offer a fresh and objective approach to the region. On radio, online, and now on television, we will deliver high-quality, impartial journalism to satisfy the needs of a news-hungry audience.
And cue.
BBC Arabic, as a multimedia operation, is a response to a market need. People need to get information whenever they want, whatever they are doing, wherever they are. This is why we will be providing news and information on all platforms.
We can present from anywhere on our live news production floor. Our presenters are no longer confined to the studio, but can move freely about the newsroom. BBC Arabic is modern and dynamic. The workings of the newsroom and gallery are visible on air. Branding has been rolled out across all platforms.
تحية طيبة لكم مشاهدينا الكرام.
Our flagship daily program, نقطة حوار, is truly multimedia. It begins the day online, then moves on to television in the early evening, with the debate and discussion continuing on radio, and then ends the day back online. Making use of all the latest technology, including 3G mobiles, webcams, and SMS texting. Our schedule also includes shows like The Commission, where knowledgeable guests are invited to quiz experts and those involved in the story to uncover the truth behind it. Close Up, our investigative documentary strand, and Open Agenda, an incisive debate show. Our programs will be pioneering, engaging, and inspiring.
What we're hoping to do is to be able to play across the three platforms, radio, online and television. We've got some programs that are scheduled across all three, and hopefully we'll lead audiences from one to the other. So we think that's one of the unique things we're able to bring, is having that kind of triple play, if you like, the three platforms in that market, and being able to lead audiences from one to the other. But no, absolutely, radio will continue to have a very important role to play for Arabic audiences. Yeah.
Is it true, in fact, because of the funding of BBC Arabic, you're able to actually cross-promote radio and television, but something you can't do with BBC World and BBC World Service?
Well, it is true that all three are publicly funded, so there are no inhibition in leading audiences from one to the other, or that kind of cross-promotion. There are, of course, some fair trading reasons that we can't have free and easy cross-promotion between services that are publicly funded and commercial services. So in terms of BBC World and BBC.com, there are limitations to the extent that they can be trailed on the publicly funded channels. But with Arabic, it's all granted aid, it's all publicly funded, so we will be cross-training and trying to lead those audiences from one platform to the other.
And finally, what's happening as far as the website is concerned? Because on the 11th you're also relaunching the website as well as the television.
Well, we are relaunching it, and to reflect more video and more audio, so we'll be the first BBC web service to have embedded video rather than have to go through a player, and it's going to be an updated site, as indeed the radio schedules are going to be updated as well to reflect this kind of triple play across all the three platforms.
إن شاء الله أكيد نحضرها. ما بتعطي برنامج توك شو فاضي تضييع وقت وحديث بلا طعمه.
I think this is a step that make a big difference for communication between the civilization.
I would like to see it, and we will be waiting for it.
You could make 12 hours into 24 by rerunning some of the day's features, the way Al Jazeera English launched in 2006. But that's not the plan.
We won't be doing that. I think we'll be running the audio from Arabic radio, because it's up to date in terms of news coverage, and a feed from our Arabic.com website, which is also up to date in terms of news coverage. I think if we run repeats from the previous day or previous week, the risk is that there's something happening in the world and people will turn on and they won't see anything at all about it on the screen. They won't hear anything, even for this short period of time. So I think the wisest thing to do in that circumstance is to run the audio and run the feed from the Arabic.com site for what is only a few months before we go 24/7 on television itself.
Final question, is there anything significant about March the 11th?
No, there's nothing particular about March the 11th. It felt a good time before Easter in the United Kingdom to launch. We've obviously had funding this year to pay for this service. I think it's important that in this financial year it launches, and we feel it's ready to launch, and that was a decision at the end that we took. It wasn't particularly around the date, it was, are we ready? Is the technology working properly? Do you think we can do a good start with the channel? The answer was yes, so it was our time to start.